Terry Blackburn here. I have a property portfolio worth over £10 million. I've built and sold multiple companies, some in seven-figure deals. I wrote 2 successful books, one won awards all over the world. All of these awards behind me are national and international awards for some of my companies. Coach people one-on-one, and I run masterminds. Now, if you like what I talk about in this session, if you listen to my podcast, you follow us on Instagram, you follow the YouTube page, if you like what I talk about and I resonate with you and you can relate to me, jump on my website, which is terryblackburnproperty.com. All of the different services that I have is on there. I'd love to work with you and I'd love to help you get to where you want to be, whether that's in property, whether that's in business, whether it's in sales, goal setting, whatever it is that you want to achieve and want to learn. I'm your man. Enjoy the rest of the episode and speak soon.
So in this podcast, we're going to do some questions from my community, from people in my following, and people who are coach one-to-one in masterminds as well as one-to-one. Questions around sales strategy, sales process optimization. We're going to do a little bit on scaling your sales team and a little bit scaling your business through generating and doing more sales. So let's crack straight on. What's the number one thing holding most businesses back from scaling their sales? The number one thing I'd probably say is the quality of the sales people and the sales process. So do they have scripts? Have the sales team been trained properly on things like tone of voice, closing techniques, how to actually ask good questions? Like, these are massive points because a lot of salespeople don't understand this. They've just drifted into a sales role because they're maybe a nice person or they've got a bit about them, but they don't know how to properly sell. And that definitely holds businesses back. I coach quite a few different businesses in different industries, and no disrespect, but some of their salespeople they've never even done sales training, which is mad. Like, good salespeople in your organization will generate a huge ROI for the company. So if you train them to be the best they can be, it will definitely scale your business in preventing you from holding back, which is the question for sure. Next question. How do you increase revenue without increasing your workload? Not too sure on that question. Automation, I suppose. How do you increase revenue without increasing your workload? A lot of the time you're going to increase your workload. Depends on how big the increase in revenue is, of course. But let's call a spade here. I don't believe in that 4-hour work week nonsense, Tim Ferriss. Like, if you want to scale your business, like, you need to work more, right? You need to work hard. I don't know anybody who's successful who doesn't work hard. Yeah. So if you want to increase your revenue substantially, you're going to increase your workload. Yeah. Next question. What's the fastest way to turn say that again. What's the fastest way to turn a struggling sales process into a winning one? So I teach a 6-step sales process framework. Yeah. Starts with introduction, killer questions, summary, presentation, pull the rug, and close. So that's the framework for a killer sales process. If you want a little bit more information on this, then obviously let us know. But if you don't have a proper sales process, your sales team will struggle. And I think I see a lot of people who just don't have a process, or their salespeople are all doing different stuff. You need a regimented, strict, proper process to improve your conversions for sure. Next question. How do you scale sales without losing quality? Having a proper process. You need a proper process that your team stick to each and every time. You record calls and you monitor calls so that everybody knows that there's a process and they know that they have to follow it. That's how you scale, because when people digress and they go off track, that's when the quality is affected. So you need a good sales team who follow a good process. What's the biggest mistake that businesses make when trying to scale? The biggest mistake, there's definitely a few. Not having the foundations right, not having the backing team, the office team, the foundations of the company, the systems and processes in place, and trying to go too quick. Not having enough staff. and just trying to go too quick and trying to do too much themselves, I think is probably a mistake that people make when they're trying to scale. Embrace sales, embrace marketing, and embrace sales, because every single business on this planet has marketing and sales, and it needs marketing and sales, but people outsource it, don't they? And they focus on the product delivery, when in reality, marketing and sales are what matter, right? Next question. How do you automate parts of your sales process without losing the personal touch? That's a tough one. You can use technology, you can use CRMs. I'm a big believer in it. Parts of the sales process, automated emails work, right? But I wouldn't automate too much. Don't over automate. Don't use AI for everything. Don't have a fucking AI robot making sales calls yet. That's probably going to come. I don't believe that's the way to go. People buy people. They don't buy fucking AI robots, right? So keep some personal touch in there for sure. I think it's needed. What's the best way to increase your average deal size? Hugely dependent upon what you're selling. But building the value of something increases how valuable it appears to be. Therefore, you can charge a premium. So if you're talking about increasing the price of something, the deal size, then you build the value and you build the problem that the prospect, the potential customer has got, so that the solution is valuable. They need the solution. And then if you make the problem so big, the price becomes less and less relevant. So then you can ultimately charge more. Yeah. Next question. How do you turn your best sales techniques into a reputable system? I would say it comes down to a process again, right? It's about having, from when someone makes contact with you, what happens then? Do they get a sales call first of all? Do they get do they just book a call with a salesperson? Then what does the salesperson do? Have they got a script and a process? Then once they've sold, what happens then? Yeah, have you got a post-sale process? Business is just systems and processes ultimately, and you need that system and process in place to make it a reputable system, which is the question, yeah? What's the secret to making sales predictable? Marketing, sales process, and effectively systems and processes around that. That makes it predictable. If you've got a predictable lead generation source that's driving in leads, you've got a predictable process of people dealing with those leads, and then after that, it's all kind of on autopilot. It's got a system behind it. Then that's very predictable, and that's a great place to be. And that's what, in my opinion, most business owners should be aiming towards, right? Or leads coming in, someone dealing with the leads, you're making profit, and it's all systemized and processed up. Then you're in a great place, right? Next question. How do you stop relying on luck and start scaling with strategy? You should never rely on luck, for one. You make your own luck by working more and harder, right? And putting yourself in the right positions on the pitch. You're going to score more goals if you're in the right position, right? And you start scaling with strategy by having a strategy. Some people, believe it or not, don't even have a fucking strategy, which is mental. They're just going each and every direction, and it's kind of reactive, and they've got no bloody plan, which is not how you scale a decent sized business at all. So don't rely on luck, make your own luck, and have a clear plan, goal, and strategy. So next question. These questions are around building a sales team that have came in. So how do you recruit salespeople who actually close deals? So when you're recruiting salespeople, for me, it's attitude and it's open-mindedness and aura. Yeah. If they've got those things, as in attitude, they're willing to learn, they fit in with the culture of your business, they've got a good aura, as in you like them, and they're open-minded to embracing what you're going to teach them and doing it and following your process because it's your business. If they've got that, everything else is learnable. Yeah. But so it's not necessarily for me about what they've done in the past and their experience in the CV. I don't even ask for CVs when I'm recruiting people because I don't think they matter. Yeah. So that's what I would say. Make sure your salespeople have got those attributes. Next question. What's the best way to scale your sales team without it becoming a mess. Systems and processes prevent mess. Yeah. A lot of people have got very messy businesses. It's all over the place. They're this way, they're that way. The office is all over. The team's all over. Nobody knows what they're doing. There's no plan. There's no structure. That'll work up to a point. Yeah. But when you get past a certain point, like one of my companies had over 100 people in it, you can't have mess in that size. It needs structure. It needs systems and processes from every part of the business, for sure. You can get away with mess, but when you get to a certain level, you definitely cannot. How do you turn an average salesperson into a top performer? You do sales training with a person called Terry Blackburn. On a serious note, you need to train them. You need to treat them well. Incentives, bonus structures, nights out, all that. Make them want to work for you. And treat them and train them so they are good enough to leave. Train them so they're good enough to leave, but treat them treat them well enough so they never do. Richard Branson quote, yeah. But ultimately, it's training and treatment that will turn an average salesperson into a top performer. What's the biggest mistake business owners make when hiring salespeople? The interview process is different all the time. They recruit on experience and not attitude. They don't give them enough training and they don't onboard them properly. There's some key points. And with the businesses that I work with, I give them all of this. An interview process, onboarding process, a training matrix so they can ongoing train and get the best out of that person. And if you don't have that for your business, don't expect your salespeople to be elite because they just won't be. What's the key to keeping salespeople motivated and hungry? A couple of things on this. Keeping them motivated and hungry is having monthly one-on-ones with them, finding out what they want and their goals, keeping elements of training each and every week, leaderboards, WhatsApp groups, recognition, praising them when they sell, setting targets for them, giving them bonuses and incentives to do more. Because the two things that motivate salespeople is money and recognition. So you play on both of those to keep them motivated and hungry. How do you build a commission structure that drives massive results? So I've actually seen some companies not even offering any commission, which is fucking mental, right? Salespeople are motivated by money and recognition, mainly money. So you need a juicy commission structure that is going to motivate them. And all you do is each and every week, you talk about how much commission they've made. You do leaderboards with how much commission they've made, and you keep them focused on commission. And then you build in levels or layers or targets or bonus structures. The more they do, the more they get paid. And that will keep them really on it. But the structure itself needs to be juicy. You still need to make a good level of profit, of course, but it needs to be juicy with dangling a few carrots along the way and structures, incentives and bonuses the more they do. Yeah. What's the fastest way to get new sales hires closing deals? So the fastest way is you're getting good people in the first place. Then you're also onboarding them into your business properly, giving them enough and adequate training, motivating them, setting standards, and giving them all the tools that they need. So day one, they start selling, is what I'd say to that. Next question. How do you stop wasting time on salespeople who don't perform? For me, 3-month rule. If they ain't performing 3 months in a row, they're gone. It's ruthless, I know, but they're gone. You can't have deadwood in your sales team. They are infectious, they are cancerous, they spread through your organization, and the top performers will lower their standards if you've got deadwood. So for me, if they don't hit the target 3 months in a row, bye-bye. That's what I'd say on that. How do you... Sorry, I've said that one. Next question. What's the secret to building a sales team that runs without you? Runs without you, if you're the director here, then you need layers of management. You need a structure. So you need weekly sales meetings. You need people to take those meetings. You need weekly training sessions. And you need everything, the leaderboards, the WhatsApp groups, the monthly one-on-ones, all of the things that a sales team need. You need someone else doing them, of course. But that's a very tough hire. To hire a sales manager into your business is tough. A little bit of advice on that would be promote within. Because if you get someone externally, and a lot of the time it ruffles feathers, people leave, your best salesperson might be the person to move up to that sales manager role. So next set of questions. How do you generate high quality leads without spending a fortune? High quality leads and spending a fortune are subjective, right? Spending a fortune that's different to different people. But for me, whatever you spend on ads, on marketing, as long as you're making more than that, the ROI is there and you're making good profit with what's left, then that's a good investment. If you spend £1,000 to make £2,000, and imagine you'd spend as many £1,000 as you can to double your money. But if you're spending £1,000 to make £1,500, as long as it's still profitable, you would probably do that as well. So high quality leads is very dependent upon the lead generation technique, the marketing technique, and spending a fortune is relative because it depends on your margins. So, but one thing I would say is always be marketing, always be exploring lead generation techniques, because the more leads, the more money you're going to make, right? Next question. What's the best way to turn cold leads into hot buyers? So it depends on how cold they are. But what I would say is you need some sales call needs to happen. Something needs to happen. If they're freezing cold, you've got to warm them up. And the way you warm them up is nurturing them through things like email sequences and videos, as well as a sales call, some sort of meeting where you have a conversation with them, ask them some questions, determine what their pain points are, the problem is, so your product can then solve the solution. You pitch the product to solve the solution, and that will naturally warm them up. Yeah. How do you scale a business when you're the only one selling? So if you're the only person selling in your business, you'll reach capacity at some point, and then that is your ceiling. You can increase prices and things and still earn more. But if you want to scale, you need salespeople. You need to recruit salespeople. And then once you've recruited salespeople, you need to turn up your marketing to drive more leads to the salesperson. And then you work out a simple formula that how many deals a salesperson can do. Let's say if they can do 10 deals and you want to do in a week and you want to do 100 deals a week, you need 10 people. You work out a simple formula and recruit. Next question. How do you get referrals without asking for them? That's a stupid question. You need to ask for them. You can do email campaigns. You can ask for them directly. You can incentivize them, use social media, but you need to fucking ask, right? You can have such a good service that people refer to you via word of mouth, but I would actively be asking for referrals, regardless of the product that you've got and the industry you're in. Ask for referrals because it's a great lead source, and the warm leads as well, right? Next question. What's the secret to making every sales conversion count? Making it count? Strange question. Making it count is, I think that's maybe every sales call count. So you increase your conversions by making every sales call count. So having good salespeople with a good process, good script, and managing them effectively and training them effectively so they convert more of the leads that they've got. How do you turn objections into reasons to buy? So this comes down to the questions that you ask in the sales call. You've got to ask good questions so that you identify the pain points and the dream outcome and whatever the issue is with them so you can present your solution. That's how you reduce objections in the first place. And if someone raises an objection, you confidently and calmly empathize with them, understand how you feel. Other people like you felt the same, but what we found is this, or what is the real reason that you want to think about it? Is it this? Is it this? It's more of a conversation to uncover what the real objection is. Because a lot of the time, the actual objection that they say is not the real objection. So sales techniques come in here. Sales training is needed, I'd say, on that point. What's the best way to close deals faster without rushing the prospect? So little things like I've had salespeople in my businesses before where they're those outgoing people, right? And they have 15 minutes of rapport. They talk about nonsense for 15 minutes. How are you? How's the kids? Do you see the football on the weekend? Rapport is needed, yeah, because you've got to be likable, but not 15 minutes, right? You can do that in 2, 3, 5 minutes. You can shorten time. A lot of that comes down to the salesperson is talking too much. If you ask good questions and you identify pain and pleasure points and dream outcomes, then you can speed up the sales process. You really can. 30 minutes to an hour. Sales calls should not be longer than an hour, pretty much in any industry, I'd say. So yeah. How do you sell high ticket offers without sounding desperate? You should never sound desperate, whether it's high ticket or low ticket. It all comes down to your sales process, the questions that you ask, how you ask them, your tone of voice, your body language, what you are saying throughout that sales call to make the pain elevated, the problem elevated, so the solution is hugely valuable. So they are very motivated to move away from the pain and towards the dream outcome, towards a solution. So you never want to sound desperate, but the way that you sell more high ticket is building the problem and the pain and the dream outcomes up so that your solution comes across as hugely valuable. And last one, what's the best way to scale your business through strategic partnerships? I'm a big believer in this, right? I talk about in my coaching strategic alliances. Okay. And a strategic alliance is getting somebody else who's got your customers, doing some sort of deal with them, partnership with them, referrals, fee, commission split for them introducing you to their customers. Yeah. So when the life insurance and mortgage world, estate agents, accountants, they had our customers. So we done a deal with a lot of those type companies to send leads to us. And within your own business, there'll be loads of them. So have a think about which other types of companies have your target market. Contact them, start dialogue, open a conversation up and try and get some sort of partnership set up. Fantastic way to get more leads. Yeah, that's the end of that. That's the end of that one.